Nothing. With that new proposal. So, did you see that? Hello, people. We were in the meeting, in the middle of very interesting discussion, and I kind of decided now it's the time to click record and just put us in the, because usually that's how it happens with us. We start with something and we get to the big discussion in the beginning. I'm just saying. And I would like to have some kind of way in which I can record Vinay without her knowing that I'm recording her.
You did it because I saw
That will be, that's the best of the best.
Wow. Gee, thanks.
Much. Well, we were just talking about our education, state education agency came with a new proposal for calendar for the next year. And it's just a proposal, and the way that it's looked at, the districts will have to choose if they're following it or not. And it's year round with a lot of options.
That's one choice.
That's one of the
choices. They're trying to make it seem like it's, 3 different choices.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you watched the PowerPoint or did you just read it? I watched the PowerPoint. I looked at the PowerPoint. I downloaded the PowerPoint.
I just went to the document.
Okay, so they're trying, the way that the PowerPoint was set up, they're trying to break it down as if it's like 3 different choices.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I get it, but I just feel like most districts are probably going to go toward the year round one, because we talk about this summertime slide all the time.
Okay, so
that would be a way to alleviate some of the summertime slide.
Okay. But here's what I see with that. As of right now, teachers are paid for 187 days work. How are you going to manage to pay for 365?
Well, I'm sure there have to be, so it's not 365. It's 180 plus 30. 180 plus 30, I think.
210.
Yes.
It's 220 almost.
Yeah.
Well, still. So now
we'll have to work that out. That would be a budgetary thing that they would definitely have to work out. So funny thing you say that, because I also watched our board meeting, the last board meeting, and they were actually talking about budget. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I just feel like for our district, our specific, well, you won't be there next year, my district, they're gonna do something probably that's not gonna make us happy. Because I know they were talking about that lump sum money that we're getting and how they're just gonna add it into base pay and, talking about
what?
Yeah. And they're just gonna add it into the base pay, because if they did it that way, it came out cheaper than the way we did it this year or whatever. And I'm just sitting here thinking, they are gonna go, I'm sure, for that long extended schedule, because they were talking about one of the safety issues that they're talking about is that now that classrooms are gonna have to be cleaned between classes. So at the elementary level, unless you're in a quad, that only means, you have 2 classes. But they are putting in place, and they said they're still working on it, where they're gonna have teachers having to disinfect their rooms between each class. And so one of the questions that was asked was, are you bringing in more custodians? Did you put extra money in the budget for more custodians? And they were saying, oh no, it would be too time consuming for custodians, especially when you get to the middle school and the high school level. So the teachers would have to do it. So they're talking about, we would have to build in more time between the classes so that they could do it.
Okay.
We would have to find chemicals that evaporate quicker, and we're stretching out planning times, and we're stretching out large group and play time. And do I really see that happening?
I don't see the practical way of doing it. And this is not the first time that we see that, because we have always said the higher power, and I'm saying the higher power because in our lives that is what it is, higher power. They have lost connection to what happens in the classrooms in the day-to-day. Okay, you can stretch out the time so teachers can clean in between. And my thing is like, and where are the kids going then? Are they waiting in the hallway, you know, with the other classes in the hallway? So now the social distancing is out.
Right. So I think that was part of the whole, oh, we haven't worked out all the kinks in that. It's just one of those things that we're discussing. That's where that fell under that category.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I just feel like this is about to be crazy. It's about to be crazy.
No, I mean, it is.
Uh-oh.
And we all understand this. But I think it's made to be more, they're making it more complicated of what it should be. So we have to figure out two things. Number one, well, we do function as a daycare for working parents.
Yeah.
So we will have to look at that. Are we going to have a kickback of parents that don't want their kids to stay up until 6 o'clock at school? Probably, because remember, especially middle school and high school level, you have the after school activities, which are very important for those kids. So extending it that way, then what are you going to do with the parents that they don't want their kids to stay more? Okay, so that's a situation. Then you inevitably you're going to have the parents that say, no, I'm not sending my kid. I have mommy's at home or grandma's at home, whatever, because they're too scared with the reason, okay? So how is that going to work for, is it going to be live streaming for the teachers? But if it's live streaming, then the whole network should be redone, because as of right now, the districts don't have the capability of a massive live streaming. So, I mean, it's that kind of situation in which you're like, okay, what we're doing. I read the other propositions when they're coming, certain grades are coming in the school one day and the next day another grades are coming in. But you're looking at the same situation. So even though the teacher can live stream and teach from home, whatever it is, what's with the kids that there's nobody at home to stay with them?
Right. So it's a lot of stuff that they are really going to have to think about. And at the end of the day, I think it's still going to be centered around what happens in society. What do we do as a society based upon, now that we're reopening cities, if there's a negative impact on opening up cities, all this can change. Yeah. Like overnight, it could change overnight. So by the time we get to August, which everybody's looking at, we're definitely, because I was listening to our superintendent today on the board meeting. He was like, we're definitely opening schools in August, but nobody knows what that looks like. But that all is relative depending upon what happens in real actuality once cities are fully opened again.
Yeah.
But I just really thought these they were the situations, the three different situations that they put on the TEA. I just thought they were interesting, and even the one where we're having like 2 weeks in, 2 weeks for Thanksgiving, and then a long big chunk for winter, and then another 2 or 3 weeks for spring break, and then then we would go out until June. Which that's what they're calling an extended calendar, is we would only get out for July, and that would be pretty much it. And then the second part of that was that 1 week at Thanksgiving, we could use that as sort of a makeup week for kids that are struggling. So maybe the GT kids or the higher achieving kids would stay home that week, and just the kids that are struggling or falling behind, then they would only come on those weeks, which I thought that's really interesting too. And I would love to see how parents deal with that. Because I could only imagine if we say, okay, well, this week we're only taking these 7 kids. I'm speaking for, say, my class. I'm only going to have these 7 kids. Everybody else, you're on Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, both ways. For the ones that are not coming and for the ones that should come in the Thanksgiving break. And it's like, okay, why I'm not allowed to have the Thanksgiving break, or why should my kids?
Why I'm only getting 1 week and you're getting 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
this is going to be
we're getting in such an unknown here. It's an unknown, straightforward.
Yes.
I have a conflicted situation with the proposal of the longer winter break, and even though I kind of think that it's not more about the virus, this one virus, but it's because it's going to overlap with the flu season.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be completely honest. For the last year, how many kids with flu did you have in the classroom?
I don't know for sure, but I'm sure I had some. But they're just come to school sick.
Yeah. That's another one, because that's another one that is very interesting. Because of the flu, you can't tell the kids and the parents not send them. You can't do that. So now how we're going to differentiate, I know it's different situation, I know that. But when they come with the temperature, which one is it? Are we going to have a ready-to-go tests as a teachers and give them the tests, or? Yeah,
from what I heard in the hearing that was in Washington, D.C. on yesterday, the little Senate hearing, whatever it was called, that they had, that was one of the things that was discussed. And they were saying that, you know, they're going to have in all schools, if schools are going to open back fully, even if they only open back partially or whatever, staggered or however, whatever situation the school decides to do, there would have to be a system in place where, one, everybody's temperature is taken every single day. As soon as you walk in the building, everybody has to have their temperature taken. And they were also talking about, you know, especially in elementary school, elementary kids are infamous for their parents sending them to school knowing that they are sick.
Yes.
We know sometimes when they send those children like that, they're sending them because they have to go to work. They may not have anybody that can take care of them at that moment or whatever. But we're infamous for having kids get off the bus with a fever or get off the bus, come to class, eat breakfast, throw up, all of that.
Yeah.
So they were saying that, you know, it'll have to be a little bit more strict as far as telling children, you know, telling parents, if the kid is sick, they just can't come. If the teacher is sick, they can't come. It's just done. They've got to stay home. So this is gonna be very interesting to see how that all plays out. Very, very interesting. Sorry, my phone, I thought I turned it off.
You know what? I'm very interested to see how we're going to deal with social distancing with pre-Ks and kindergarten.
Yeah.
I'm
with 5th grade.
Oh,
not pre-K and kinder, with 5th grade.
Yeah, same thing. It's like it does not exist. There is no way of controlling it. There is no way of controlling it. Plus, let's be completely honest. Our kids in elementary school, they don't get the severity of, because they don't have the life experience of how severe that thing is.
Right.
So you can say whatever you want to say and do that. I mean, it's going to be very interesting situation. Now, do I think we should go back in the classroom? I think it's inevitable. I don't think we should, but I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any choice in the matter.
Exactly. I think we're going.
But I think they're going to have to be a little bit more lenient on whether or not you know, you feel comfortable coming in there without a mask or something like that. That's gonna be a situation that they're gonna have to work through, because like we've spoken about before, those of us that are at risk are in the high risk category.
Yeah. But that was my other thing. Who's going to provide us with the personal protective gear?
You.
Because
Yeah,
if we have to pay it from our pocket, and let's be clear, we teachers pay for things from our pockets. But as of right now, today, I went to a grocery store. Very fast in the morning. I promise it was very fast.
Whatever.
And surprise, surprise, there's hand sanitizer, some kind of mark that I have never heard of in my life. But hey, there's something. And then masks. Okay.
Where did you go? I'm sorry. Never mind.
Now, here's the thing. It's $9.99 for a package of 10. Okay. And they're the very common mask, which most probably will not help us with anything. They're not the ones that are supposed to be for that. Okay. So they should be used for no more than 2 hours. If I'm in a 10-hour spend, there's my package for the day, but that's $10 for the day. So how am I going to pay that out of my pocket? Now, the ones that are the N95, you know, with that, I have been using one. I had one. That's it. It's done and gone. You can use that multiple times for 8 hours until the filter is gone and smashed and everything else. But it's extremely hot.
Yes. It's
extremely hot. That's why you cannot use it for the whole 8 hours because you literally start sweating. So you cannot do anything if you're with that mask. So my thing has been, okay, so how exactly we're going to do that? Plus, we all know we are all in the same HVAC. Do I use mask or not if the air conditioning is going from one place to another place? All it takes is just one person. That's it.
Yeah.
So I do believe we will go back in some way or form. We will go back.
Agreed.
Probably it's going to be in steps, you know, and probably it's going to be one day at school and one day out. I do believe that. Because I don't see.
So you're saying stagger the kids in? You think it's going to stagger the kids in?
Because I don't see how exactly it's going to work for social distancing. I mean, right now in our classrooms are over the top. There's no way you can have a social distancing in our classrooms right now. So either it's half of the class is coming one day and the other half is coming the other day, you know.
Think about schools like where we are currently. Who, you know, first of all, we're open concept.
Yeah.
That's number one. And then number two, we have the furniture for the year when they started the whole group thing. You know, big pair share and everything. So we have kids sitting at tables of 4 instead of individual desks. So we would definitely not be able to allow a whole class, if we have to continue the social distance, to come at the same time, because we don't even have desks. We have tables. So that would be a huge problem. That would be a huge problem. So there's a lot of factors we have to think about. But I just feel like they're going to lean toward that extended year. I just feel like they are, because I think they feel like that gives them enough flexibility for the what ifs, if that makes sense.
Listen, I do agree with that. I get it. And the extended school year has not been a new talk in education at all. We know it has not been a talk in education. My thing has been that the only thing that stops everybody of doing the whole extended school year is because there is no funding for that. What we get right now is for half a year. So you know, we don't get summers paid. Whatever, we're not going to that part. But if you have to
Because
go,
I know y'all think that we don't get paid for the summer.
we
Okay,
don't
thank you. I
get
just
paid
had to
for
throw
the
that
summer.
in there because that's always one of those, but you get out for the summer. And
Yes, always.
no, we don't.
You always have one of those like, and you have to sit and explain, no, actually I'm giving my money to the district to work with them without paying interest. So they explain it, whatever. I mean, that's the thing, but if we have to go back and at another 30 days or another 50 days, okay? So an extended time, because it's extended. Now, don't get me wrong, districts get away with that very easily and other duties as assigned, you know, so you're doing whatever you're doing for the time that you're doing.
That's right.
It's not that you are from 8 to 3 and you're gone. That, have you ever been in a school from 8 to 3? Okay, moving on.
Right.
Okay, so that was an interesting talk.
Yeah.
Very interesting one. I don't know where we're going. I know we're going back to school.
Yes,
we are
definitely going back. We are definitely going back. Because I was surprised here in Texas to hear that they're now letting them have graduation.
Oh yeah, on an open space. Yes,
in an open space. So I'm just like, this should be really, really interesting. It should be really interesting.
This can work though. This can work though. Open space, especially for Texas, because we don't have these kind of conditions majority of the school year. Open outside classrooms, that could work, because outside you don't have that.
I'm not teaching outside. I'm not teaching outside. Let me just say it again. I'm not teaching outside. Not for an extended amount of time. Now, you know, I'm all for, okay, we need a break from this room. Let's go outside and just do our lesson outside. But everyday occurrence, not in Texas, it's too hot.
It is too hot. What about?
How are you going to get your technology piece in and all of those nice little things? Oh, no.
No, I get the part of, you know, obviously in Texas, August, September, even October, not happening outside, okay, so not happening. But the other months you can, well, not for the whole day. So what about portables? Portable.
I don't think you could be in a portable, not unless you only have one person, one class on one side, or you get the entire portable.
Yes.
Spread everybody out that way, but I can't see multiple classes being in a portable.
No, but I mean one portable per class. So for example, the whole 5th and 4th grades are out.
But that's a whole nother expense that I'm sure your school probably is not going to want to deal with. And another interesting thing I heard on the board meeting today was one of the board members asked the budget person if they had budgeted for extra counselors in elementary school, regardless of the number of students.
And then
so, like, I thought it was an awesome question, because he said, well, you know how it works. If you have this amount of kids, you get 2. If you have only this amount of kids, you only get 1 or the 0.5 or whatever. And he was saying he felt like, you know, elementary schools were going to need more counselors. So had they budgeted in that? And I thought her answer was interesting. I'm not going to say what it was, but I think it was an afterthought. I'll put it like that.
Oh, so they have not even thought about it.
The way she kind of said it, it was like sort of, kind of, and those are my paraphrased words, sort of, kind of, but not really. Because they don't know what it's really going to look like or whatnot. But I think now it's on the table because the board member put it on the table.
We talked on the last video about how much of a problem is a trauma right now.
Yes.
How is it that you're not looking at that? Is it possible that, as I said, the Howard Powers are so disconnected that they don't even go through that thing?
Right.
And they don't think about it?
Yeah.
It's possible, isn't it?
It is. It is definitely possible. And I actually watched a webinar yesterday, an education webinar yesterday. And one of the presenters that was his thing. That's exactly what he was talking about. That's probably the biggest thing that teachers have to prepare for going into this new year, is how we're going to all deal with this trauma of this whole situation. Not just them, but us too, and how we're going to work together with them, because this is going to be different from them. Think about it. Think about how long they have been out of the classroom already, and now we're going into summer, and then they're going to come back, and then we have to get back into a regimented situation.
No, but get that part, because this is where I am. When I thought about it, I was like, oh God. Even if we go back, when we go back to the classroom and the kids got back in the classroom, the trauma will still continue because it's going to be a completely different setup. Plus, we're still living with that thing.
Exactly. And one of the things that one of the presenters said that I thought was very interesting, he said, you have to, and if you're in education, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Maslow before you Zoom.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I thought that was a very good point. And he was just like, until you deal with all those, if you know the hierarchy, the Maslow hierarchy, until you deal with all those situations, you can pretty much hang up just thinking you're going to walk back in and do a regular classroom, or, even if we're doing it electronically starting out, or through technology starting out, you can hang all of that up until you deal with that. And that goes right back to the emotional, social, emotional, traumatic piece. So we're definitely going to have to put some stock at the beginning of the year into all of that. I think the bigger thing for us is going to be, we're really going to have to build relationship. Because if we don't have any relationship with these children, there's no way we're going to be able to understand what could possibly be going on in their heads. Okay, so I'm sure there's going to be some fear in it. Wait till the day when we're in school and all of a sudden we have to tell them, okay, pack up all your stuff because we're out for 2 weeks.
Yes.
I can see kids flipping out.
Yes. Yes.
Flipping out.
Yes.
I can see it. And we're going to have to be ready to be prepared for that.
Yes, and here's the other thing. We missed that point of the beginning of the initial, we're gone, because we were in the spring break. Right. We just never came back from the spring break. So for us, that last day was not a big deal. Actually, was a very nice day because, we're going to spring break. But if it happens like that, like pack up your stuff, we're gone.
Right. We're gone.
Yes, but okay, so here's the one that I'm going to throw on you and everybody else. Because it's like, we have to deal with the trauma, and we have to deal with it, we have to, and I agree, we have to. Even though we are in the same situation.
Right.
So here's the question. When and how the teachers are going to be trained on that?
And that was part of the mental health person's presentation. That there's going to have to be a lot to go into that. So I'm sure every school district is probably trying to think that through right now, because that's going to be, to me, on the top of the list of things that we have to get prepared for the beginning of the year. So I'm sure the powers that be are looking into that, because that's definitely going to have to happen. Because all of us will be in the room laying on our backs, kicking our feet, teacher included, if we don't, Oh
no, I will be one of the first ones to running through the door, you know me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I most probably will teach them how to dismiss the classroom in 6 seconds before anything else. But I mean, I get it, and I understand, and I know that it's a known, and I understand that we have to go to some kind of normal life because we don't have another choice. Mm-hmm. Truth is, the best option will be, okay, we're dealing with this like this in our houses for now. But that's not the option for our society. We don't live like this. Mm-hmm. We don't have the means for that. So I understand we have to go back. And I understand that there's going to be an enormous change. Am I too concerned that I will have to work extended times? Okay, so between you and me, have teachers
extended time anyway, for the most part.
So that's not. Is it a concerning that we're going to work through the summer? Not really, because
I mean, for teachers that do summer school is just.
There you go. We have summer school, we have the PDs in the summer.
Right.
You know, it's not that you're really taking summer off. That does not happen. Interestingly enough, it's going to be how we're going to put on when it's our vacation time. That will be interesting, but I'm not concerned about this. I'm really not.
No, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, you know, our calendar, our actual school calendar, up until maybe 3 years ago, we didn't get out of school until the second week of June, or first or second week of June.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So adding maybe 3 to 4 more weeks on, you know, to where we used to, that's when we got out anyway, is not gonna make that much of a difference.
No, I don't believe it's much of a difference. Nothing. The extended time, you know, the only thing that I see in that extended time, it's not that I'm working more. Either way, it's exactly what we have been doing for years and years and years. It's how the dismissal for the kids will going to work and how we're going to deal with the kids in the extended time. Because I really believe not every parent will be okay with the extended time. Or maybe we'll have, so listen, from where I'm coming, from where I came, and people that are coming, for example, for Mexico, for Latin America, you see the public schools, they have 2 turns. You have morning turn, and kids are coming in the morning, and then you have afternoon, and then the afternoon kids are coming. Majority of the teacher stays for both turns, you know, and then the next semester they switch. The afternoon term comes in the morning goes in the afternoon. So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. But once again, in that case, other things should be looked at. So for example, okay, when is the planning time? When is the grading time? How much leniency now you're going to allow for the teachers to not grade every single paper for the week?
Yeah, and I mean, that was part of that, the PowerPoint where they were saying you will definitely have to give teachers more planning time, you know, because you're just going to have to. They're going to have to be able to have more planning time. So I think as far as the state goes, they have thought about that, but how it's going to be implemented, you know how Texas is, it's always going to end up being whatever your school district says.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is a bigger issue.
Definitely. And on top of everything, it's just a proposition, you know, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You have to look at, okay, how many school districts has got to accept the choice or make a choice of that? How many school districts will choose to let go of teachers instead of doing these things, right? You know, because this is my biggest fear. And I'm saying that straightforward.
And it's a possibility, but that's the profession that we've chosen to be in. And this is the state that we happen to live in. So that's definitely a distinct possibility.
It is.
Yeah. So it's going to all boil down to whatever your specific district decides to do. And I know every state board of education is probably having the same conversation about how they're going to proceed forward. So let me throw this out here as the last little thing to talk about. Do you think there's going to be an uptick in charter schools behind this?
No.
Or homeschool?
No. No. So here's my take on that one, okay? Homeschooling was a big deal for people with special beliefs, okay? For people that were not okay with public education. And don't forget, charter schools are part of the public education, okay? They're not private schools. So I think this right now, the way that it's structured, a lot of the parents understood that school is way more of me babysitting your kid. That's number one. Number two, to set up a school, as homeschooling, you need at least one parent to be able to be at home the whole time.
Right.
Okay. Unless you're in a communal, because that's happening in a communal homeschooling, and then the kids go from house to house, and they even get one teacher to take care of, but that cannot happen right now. They cannot go from house to house, you know. So homeschooling, I do not believe it's going to boom under these circumstances, okay? Whoever had the possibility before will do it again, because this is a possibility situation. Now, the way that we present it right now, the distant learning or the learn at home, that was overwhelming for the parents. I do believe there will be parents that will choose, okay, I can go online.
Right.
But the way that we presented it, it's not going to work. And probably the way that what's the name of that online school? K-12?
Yes.
And the something academy. Okay. And the way that they have set up theirs, maybe that's possibility. And maybe there's going to be school districts that will actually try to do that. You will have a designated teachers to do just online classes.
Like our summer school.
Like in summer school, yeah. So that's possibility, and probably you will have parents that will choose to do that.
Yeah.
Do I believe more for the charter schools? No. As of right now, I don't believe, because if the districts, the public schools have problems to keep kids safe and teachers safe, with all of the data, the buildings, the preparing materials and everything else, imagine the charter schools.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, we're coming from a very bad economical situation right now. Even if it's a charter school, there is a quote for parents.
Yeah.
If you cannot pay that, I don't believe it's going to be more. I do believe it's going to look different. Probably online schools will be
a choice,
integrated choice, and more districts are going to integrate the online, just online teaching, which, you know me, I'm okay with it. Yeah. So I'm not the bad.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, only time will tell.
True.
True. So we only have, what, 2 more weeks left in our actual school year.
Mm-hmm. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
So only time will tell. I don't know.
You know what? Interestingly enough, and I'm just saying that, even though I'm a techie person, that constant change and going back and forward and not knowing the structure and the online learning is draining me. It's literally draining me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
2 more weeks. Okay. So we're going to leave it here.
Yes.
And we're going to wait for the next one. Bye-bye, people. And we're off.